Hey folks, Chad Olds here, and today we're going to talk about how to give a killer video presentation. Obviously, today it's become a lot more important to give a good video presentation. And today we're faced with more challenges. How do you be sensitive to people's situation while they're giving the presentations? Well, I'm here to tell you that if you have never learned how to run a good video call or a good video presentation or a video pitch, now is the time you have to learn to survive. So, a couple of things. Number one, I've said this before, I'll say it again, get there early, turn on your video, right? The face-to-face interaction of video presentations tells you so much more information than you would ever get just over the phone. And I will tell you that if you get there early and you turn on your video, your probability of them turning on their video is massive. I'd love to find out from maybe the head of sales at Zoom or something like that, what is the probability if they had those kinds of metrics. But to me, I feel like it's 80, 90% higher probability they'll turn on their video if I'm there first and I turn mine on. So that's number one. Number two, introductions. Introductions are pretty key in this. And I'll tell you how I like to do it. It's always kind to let somebody else introduce themselves first, but I have found that takes us down rat holes that kind of throw the flow of the video presentation off, okay? Because they'll start to say, hey, this is what I want to hear and this is what I want to see. And maybe I'll jump in because I've got a great answer, or the sales architect will jump in because he's like, hey, I need to address this right up front because the person's wrong. So what I like to do is say, hey, I'm Chad Olds, head of sales for blah, 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 blah. This is John Smith with me, and he covers XYZ, or I might let my SA introduce themselves. Either one's fine. But before I do any of that, I kind of map out what we're going to do. So today we're going to do some introductions. What I'd like to hear from you guys is what you do for Acme Company, John Smith, and kind of what you were hoping to get out of this conversation. You know, how did you get to know about my company? What brought you to us, and what you want to gain from today? Like, how do you expect you would be working with us in the future? And it's amazing because once you get done with your intros, they know who they're talking to, and they intro themselves, and that's a natural point for them to tell you what they want to get out of the conversation. While they're doing it, I'm inside of Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever my CRM is, and I am typing away at the questions that I want to get. Because usually that first 5 minutes tells me more about the customer than you're going to learn over the next 4 months of your sales cycle. They have the ability to tell you everything from scratch. So make sure you ask them the intro question in an open-ended manner, and make sure you take the notes because you're not going to remember all of the details. Okay. It's number two, introductions. Number three, absolute top pet peeve of my sales career is when people apologize before they give a presentation. Okay. So it always comes out something like, oh, I got to apologize. I'm a very numbers driven person. So I'm going to, go through a lot of the numbers. I don't have a lot of graphics. Don't have a lot of pretty graphics. Or it might be, I'm sorry. I just took on this territory. So, or this industry. So I'm still finding my way around. Okay. All you have done when you say that to me is tell me that, hey, I'm worth a little bit less of your time than I was before I told you that. Hey, I'm not totally prepared, or hey, I'm not the right person for you to really speak with. All right. Go through your presentation. Do it with confidence. Apologizing will get you nothing. And especially today, we all kind of feel like we might need to, because at any point I may have a kid run through that door and say, hey, daddy, I need XYZ, right? But I'm not going to apologize about that before it happens, because you know what? If it happens, for God's sakes, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, everybody gets it. We all get it. It's kind of cute. Your dog's going to jump on your lap. Something's going to happen. Fine. No big deal. But don't apologize beforehand, because you go ahead and drop your credibility way too early in the conversation. Next one is some of the good closing pieces of your presentation. The first one, you're not going to be able to go out to lunch with them afterwards and say, hey, was this what you were looking for? Did this hit the mark? Whatever. So I like to ask the question, kind of a yes, no, then an open-ended, all in the same. So always leave 10 minutes at the end. You have to. You have to step your way in. Make sure that your whole team knows that at the 10-minute mark, you're jumping in unless the customer is asking a specific question. So you want to say something like, with 10 minutes left, I wanted to do a little time check. I wanted to make sure that we've kind of hit all the points we needed to. Did this presentation show you what you needed to see from requirements? Did we hit all those requirements? And, what did we miss that you were maybe looking for or hoping to see from us? And then let the dead space happen, right? Somebody's going to speak up. And when somebody speaks up, you learn a few things, right? If you don't ask that second part, what did we not do? Then you're likely to miss some critical pieces in your presentation that could mean the difference between moving ahead and not, especially if they spoke with another competitor first. I've had so many times where some tiny little thing that doesn't feel like something we need in our first discovery call pitch was critical. It was a linchpin. And I'll say, well, one thing we didn't see is blah, 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 blah. And I know that that's pretty normal. Some of the competitors have, and I don't think you guys do. And it's like, well, no. Actually, we do that this way. And the reason we do it this way is X, Y, Z. So really important to do that, because once they hang up that phone, you have no guarantee that you're going to ever see them again. All right. And then the final piece that I think you've got to still hit on is timing. And I get it. In the middle of this craziness, it's a lot harder to say, hey, when's this going to happen? I'll tell you a story. I had, I guess it was last week. I asked the question. I said, when do you, whatever the timing question was, right? And he says, well, assuming that we're all still alive in 4 months, then maybe that's when we talk again, right? So you're going to have some of those, and you have to be ready for them. You have to be empathetic when you ask the question. But I'll say, other than that one, and we're running 13 calls a week or so with new customers. Other than that one, most of them are, well, we're hoping to have this done, by July, but you know how things are right now. Even when I ask the question. So what's the kind of the general sense on timing that you guys are looking for? Have you just started looking into this? Do you think in the next quarter or maybe by June or something like that is when you need to have something like this implemented? Of course, understanding that times are crazy right now. You kind of throw that on the end if you need to. But listen, their bosses have asked them to get something done by a certain time, right? They know the steps that they have to get to before to get whatever their project done is that you're some part of. So they have a time frame. You just have to be a little bit lighter and a little bit more empathetic in how you ask the question. So that's it for today. Your shares, your comments, your likes are just helping us absolutely go way further into the LinkedIn ecosphere than we ever thought would be possible. So thank you. That helps us out a lot, help more people, especially during these times. And with that, good selling, and let's go crush it.